A very warm welcome to one and all of you present here. We at Kalakshetra are indeed happy to be collaborating with the Indira Gandhi National Centre for Arts, New Delhi, for the 5-day national workshop. May I now request Dr. R. Nagaswamy, Padma Bhushan awardee, former Vice Chancellor, Shri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Vishwa Mahavidyalaya, Kanchipuram, to please deliver the welcome address and to speak on the scope of the workshop.
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Pujya Sri Kanchi Kamakooti Pidadipati Shankaracharya Swami Bhagavad and Gopal Swami, former Election Commissioner, who is also the chairman of this great institution, Kalakshetra, and Mr. Joshi, who is the member secretary of Indira Gandhi National Centre for the Arts. Sir, it is a great pleasure and privilege to welcome you for this extraordinary function, and we have the very cream of Chennai who are assembled here to participate in this function, and also not only the cream of Chennai, but it is the cream of whole of Tamil Nadu, and so I think it is the whole of India that has assembled here by its representative to participate in this unique function, and I welcome you, sir, all for this evening workshop inauguration and also the release of the last volume on Sanskrit inscriptions of India. I also have great pleasure in welcoming you all the dignitaries here, and I have to say only a few words that there is no country in the world which has such a large collection of written documents for the past 2,300 years. Nowhere. And we have inscriptions dealing with election to the village assembly, judiciary, administration, revenue collection, water management, and music, dance, and every field of human activity. We have select representations all over India, and particularly in Tamil Nadu. We have an inscription dating back to 7th century in Assam, where the king says that he followed the law code of Manu Dharma Shastra, 6th century. And then you go on to the western side in Kashmir, and in the middle part, UP, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, or Kalinga, or the southern part, Dravida country. Everywhere, the kings, from the 7th century onwards, down to the recent time, they have recorded in their sasanas, in their documents, that they followed Manu's Dharma Shastra. And all these inscriptions which we have in thousands, in Tamil Nadu alone, sir, we have nearly 30,000 inscriptions which have been copied. And these inscriptions are all based on the code set out by Manu and followed by Yajnavalkya, Apastamba, Bodhayana, Parasara, and so many Sutrakaras. And that continued till we come to the age of the colonial rulers who came around 1750. And between 1750 and 1850, we had the problem of transition between Indian system to European system, Western system. And unfortunately, they have not paid enough attention to the documents which are before 1750. And they took over the entire land and said there is nothing here, there is no administration, and so we are introducing all as if from England and Europe. Now this unfortunate system continues. Now it is necessary that we study these inscriptions. We are neither interested in the leftist or rightist, we are interested in the right history, and nothing gives you better evidence than all these thousands and thousands of inscriptions. But in many places our history is distorted, in many places it is suppressed. It is our intention to educate our younger generation to see what is there in our own country, in our own document, in our own culture. And only one more thing that I want to say is that Mahaswamigal, Paramacharya Swamigal initiated a series of publications of Sanskrit inscriptions of India. And so far 10 volumes have been published, and the 11th volume has now come out, and it will be released by our governor. We are also thankful to Gopal Swami, Chairman, for collaborating with Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts in organizing this year. There is a program by the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts to hold this type of workshop all over India, in different parts of India, and teach the students and also the teachers about our own cultural wealth. And we are here with Mr. Joshi, who will be speaking later on. And lastly, sir, not far away from here, in Mahabalipuram, on the outskirts of Mahabalipuram, there is an important inscription which says, it is 700 AD, the king was Rajasimha. The inscription is written in Sanskrit, in both Grantha characters and also in Nagari characters. Yadina vidhata bharato na yadi na harihi narado navaskandha bodhum kaiva samartaha sangeetam kalakalatya. This is the inscription which is found not far away from here, which for the first time in the history of India mentions Bharata, the author of Natyasastra. And we are having this great training camp here, very near, and we look forward to your inspiring talk. And I thank Swamiji for coming and blessing us and welcoming you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We will now have the lighting of the Kuttuvilakku. For this, may I request Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Shri Banwari Lal Purohit, Shri N. Gopalaswamy, Chairman, Kalakshetra Foundation, Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, Member Secretary, IGNCA New Delhi, Dr. R. Nagaswamy, former Vice Chancellor, Shri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, Vishwa Mahavidyalaya Kanchipuram, and Director, Srimati Remati Ramchandran, Kalakshetra Foundation. So please come. May I now request Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, Member Secretary, IGNCA, New Delhi, to give the special address.
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Param Pujya Shankaracharya of Kanchi Kamakoti Peeth, Dr. N. Gopalaswamy, the Honorable President of Kalakshetra Foundation, Dr. R. Nagaswamy, the inspiration behind this workshop, Dr. Revati Ramchandran, the Director of Kalakshetra Academy, all esteemed dignitaries who are present in this auditorium, and my dear students and colleagues who have traveled from all parts of the country to take part in this important workshop. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome you in this workshop. It is indeed an important work which we are trying to undertake under the guidance of Dr. R. Nagaswamy ji. We all know that reading Sanskrit inscriptions is very important, and this work has not been done so far very seriously in our country, and we are unable to groom young and bright scholars to read these inscriptions in the coming generations. We are blessed to have people like Nagaswamy ji amongst us who can guide us and who can groom young and bright scholars, who can create interest among the bright scholars who can read these scripts. Unfortunately, we have inscriptions, we have scripts, manuscripts written in various scripts like Brahmi, Devanagari, Brahmi, Nagari, Pali, Prakrit, Nevari, but we don't have people who can decipher, who can read those scripts. Ever since we have started working at the IGNC in the last 3 years, we have tried to create interest and we have tried to groom scholars who can read these scripts. A few days back, we conducted a 15 days workshop in Bangalore, where we tried to teach Modi and Teglari script to the young scholars, and we were happy to have 45 such scholars who took part in that workshop. We have also done a couple of rounds of grooming scholars for Brahmi script. The first workshop, which took 65 students, took part in that workshop. Out of those, we selected 20 such potential students who could take it further, and then we conducted a second level of workshop of those 25 scholars at Varanasi. Now we have 25 such bright young scholars who can read Brahmi script and decipher important manuscripts for us. This is the small bit of work which IGNC is undertaking for this. In fact, last time when we requested Nagaswamy ji to come to Delhi and teach iconography and epigraphy to bright scholars, the workshop was very well attended at Delhi, and let me share that not only scholars from India but from other parts of the world took part in that. Those include nanotechnologists, cancer specialists, earth scientists, and other important streams of knowledge who took part in that workshop. That was a 5-day workshop, an excellent feedback which we got, and taking inspiration of that, from that workshop, we requested Nagaswamy ji to hold another workshop. And let me assure you that we will keep on troubling Nagaswamy ji as long as he allows us to get in trouble, and so that we can groom as many scholars as possible who can read, who can decipher, and who can tell the entire world what Indian history is and what our heritage is. Because if we don't tell, others are ready to tell us some fabricated history of our own country, and which is the most sorry and sad state. We should not allow them to do that, and that is the basic purpose of IGNCA. That is why we have also created one project known as Bharat Vidya Prayojana, where we are trying to develop a new stream of Indology, looking at Indology from our own Indian perspective. Unfortunately, the term Indology is being governed these days by most of the European scholars and American scholars, and then they teach us what is India, what is our Shastra, what is our tradition, which is unfortunate. Unless we groom our scholars, unless we build our own scholarship, it is not going to happen. For last 3 years, we have been developing young and bright scholars who can take charge, who can tell the entire world what Indian Indology is, what our prospects is, what is our perspective, what is our history, what is our heritage, what is our lineage. And let me assure you that by the end of 2020, we are going to give you 101 such scholars who would be taking charge of telling the entire world what Indian perspective of Indology is. Other than this, we are also trying to do some research on our Saraswati heritage civilization, Sindhu Ghati civilization, the genesis of entire river Saraswati, which is very important for all of us to learn and understand. That project is being undertaken by IGNCA. In addition to this, we are also doing some work on riverine culture. As we all know that for us, river is not only a geographical entity, it is an emotional entity for us. It is Devi, it is our Ma, it is our goddess for us. And it is high time that we teach the younger generation, and not only the younger generation, but the entire world, how we should look at our rivers so that they are revived. Today, our rivers are struggling to have water in that. They are on the verge of dying and decaying. So we have taken the project on riverine culture. We have already done one big project on Narmada River. Soon we are going to do some project on Kaveri River, Krishna, Godavari and other rivers. So that is also our pledge. In nutshell, I am trying to submit most humbly that whatever culture is denoted is not only the culture which is performed on the stage or which is seen in exhibition, but culture is what is imbibed in our heart and soul, and that is to be taught to the entire world. IGNCA, in most humble, is trying to do that with the blessings. I am very happy that India's entire creative intellect is today assembled here in this auditorium. I do my pranams, I do my welcome to them. Please keep showering your blessings on the IGNCA, and we will strive for a better and better Indian cultural heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We will now have a special address by Dr. N. Gopalaswamy, Chairman, Kalakshetra Foundation. Sir, may I request you?
Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu, Sri Banwaridhan Purohit ji, Pujya Sri Kamakoti Peethadhikari ji, the Secretary, Mr. Satyanand Joshi of IGNCA, the Doyen of Epigraphists in India, Dr. R. Nagaswamy, the Director, Kalakshetra, dignitaries of the dais, invitees, and those who are attending this workshop from tomorrow for 5 days. I welcome you all on behalf of Kalakshetra. IGNCA has done outstanding work in preserving the cultural heritage of this country. And I don't know if many of you had a chance to look at the wonderful production on the Brihadishwara temple in all its aspects. It's a few years ago, there was a workshop here, there was an exhibition here. Like that, they have covered many of the heritage structures in this country. And thanks to them, a lot of art and culture is being preserved for posterity. I wish they hold some of those exhibitions again in Tamil Nadu and elsewhere for us to be able to appreciate our own heritage, which the information which is not really available to many people. IGNCA has been in the forefront in preserving many other art forms, and they have provided an access to their wealth also. One of the important works they are doing is the National Manuscript Mission work, under which the manuscripts wealth of this country is preserved. It is taken up for digitization, editing and publishing. For some time, the work was taken away from them. For some time, the work was at a standstill. But Mr. Joshi today very happily told me that the work has been revived, and now they are going ahead with the work up to about at least 2020. The idea behind the workshop was told to you by Mr. Satyanand Joshi. It's a pity that many of these old writings are not available to us, or they are available to us, but not enough people to read them and understand them. So looked at in that context, this workshop and whatever they have done earlier, of which Mr. Joshi had a resume given to us, it is something which is the need of the hour, and as you rightly mentioned, unless we understand our own history from our own perspective, it's not possible to counter any misrepresentation, of which there is plenty. I don't need to go into that. Many of us are aware of it. What passes for Indology is sometimes when I look at some of those writings, I only see them as bashing Indian culture. That is Indology for you. That's how it is portrayed in many. I don't need to take names, quite a few names where people will interpret in their own strange ways many of the records which we have. But therefore, this effort at trying to teach ourselves what is ours first, and thereafter teach to the world what is ours, is something which is the need of the hour. And these days we have been talking a lot about soft power. If this is not soft power, I don't know what it is. What else could it be? Here, I'd like to also mention and point out that in Dr. Nagaswamy, one of the most outstanding epigraphists in this country, a resource person whose knowledge must be utilized to the hilt. Even at his age, almost 90, he is very active. He has a very sharp mind, and anybody who crosses what he says does so at his will. Recently, some of the politicians had written something, and Pat came the reply that you are saying this, please go back and then see what your father said. That's the end of the story. So here is somebody who's literally a walking encyclopedia of epigraphy, and it's time that we use him to the utmost of our capability. Thank you, Dr. Nagaswamy, for involving us into this particular project. We are open to more such collaborations. I am assuring you that Kalakshetra will play a good part in these efforts. Thank you very much for all of you to have come and bless this venture, and I hope you will also encourage us in doing more of this. Thank you very much. Thank you.
அனைவருக்கும் மாலை வணக்கம். जगद्गुरु श्री सदाचार्य विजय सरस्वती स्वामींदर, डॉक्टर एन गोपालस्वामी, पद्म भूषण, चेयरमैन ऑफ कलाक्षेत्र फाउंडेशन, डॉक्टर सच्चिदानंद जोशी, member secretary in the National Center for the Arts, Dr. R. Nagaswamy, Padma Bhushan, former Vice Chancellor, Kanchipuram University, distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be here at the inauguration of workshop on Sanskrit Inscriptions of India, organized by the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi, and Kalakshetra Foundation, Chennai. The workshop, which will be held for 5 days, promises to be an eye-opener for new vistas of knowledge lying undiscovered hitherto. Pursuit of knowledge has been a matter of faith for Indians for several generations. The Aitareya Upanishad raises the pursuit of knowledge to the level of God when it says, Prajnanam Brahmam. There can be no other better description of the natural desire for knowledge that has been existent in India than the name for India mentioned in our constitution, Bharat. Bharat means vehicle of knowledge. An authentic history of a nation is written with verifiable records. Records etched on metal and stones and written on palm leaves from the time of the Maurya king Ashoka in 3rd century BC provide us with an elaborate authentic version of history for long periods of time in the last 2,300 years. So I congratulate the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi, for organizing this national workshop, and also appreciate the painstaking effort taken by Kalakshetra Foundation, President, Secretaries and all the office bearers and members for the success of the workshop. May these two great national institutions of India continue to keep the banner of our culture flying high in the coming years. I extend my best wishes and greetings to them. May they be visited with success in all their endeavors. And my pranams to Shankaracharya ji, Nandri Vanakkam, Jai Tamil Nadu, Jai Hind.
I humbly request Jagat Guru Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Shankaracharya of Kanchiman to please give us the Anugraha Bhashan.
गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरु विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अपार करुणा सिंधुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखर गुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वः। सदाशिव समारम्भां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम्। पंचाशदेव लिपयः रविवंशजानां संख्याम् अतीत्य भुवि भान्ति गुणान् नृपाणाम् एतैरमून् कथमहं कथयामि देवी मातः सरस्वती ममात्र कुरु प्रसादम्।
I now request Dr. Sudhir Lal, Project Director, IGNCA, to please come onto the podium to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Governor, His Excellency Shri Purohit, Revered Jagat Guru Shri Shankaracharya Swami Vijayendra Saraswati, Dr. N. Gopalaswamy, Dr. R. Nagaswamy, and Dr. Sachidanand Joshi. This is a unique assembly of Raj Shasan, Dharma Shasan, Kala Shasan, and Shastra Shasan. It is my honor to propose a formal vote of thanks. First of all, we express our heartfelt gratitude to His Excellency Shri Banwarilal Purohit ji, Honorable Governor, for taking out time and gracing the occasion along with an illuminating address. We thank you, sir. We are profusely thankful to His Holiness, Revered Jagat Guru Shri Shankaracharya Swami Vijayendra Saraswati ji, for his blissful Anugraha Bhashanam. Dr. N. Gopalaswamy, the revered chairman of Kalakshetra Foundation, has been very kind to make this occasion worthwhile through his presence and address. Dr. R. Nagaswamy, the renowned scholar and our guru, deserves to be thanked for his enthusiasm and his honest finance with which he has coordinated for this workshop, which is to be organized. May we also propose a sincere vote of thanks to Dr. Sachidanand Joshi, the dynamic member secretary of IGNCA, for his kind presence today. He has specially come for the inaugural, and it is because of his personal interest in this program and his dexterous direction that the program is being organized here. We also express our heartfelt gratitude to Vidushi Srimati Revati Ramachandran for her keen involvement in the program. All the staff and team of Kalakshetra Foundation and IGNCA deserve to be lauded for their involvement, and we sincerely thank the resource persons and the participants of this workshop who at their own end have taken pains to be with us for this work. workshop. You will be glad to know, sir, that we received about 114 applications for this workshop, and we selected 40 participants. Most of them are here with us, along with some resource persons, and I can only pray that this Jnana Satra may prove fruitful to one and all. Thank you so much.
Namaskar. I welcome you all in this inaugural, which we witnessed yesterday, and this is a continuity of that. And from today, the academic sessions are going to begin. We have Professor Nagaswamy with us, who's the Sutradhar of this workshop. And also we have today with us Dr. T.S. Ravishankar and Dr. Muni Ratnam from Mysore Epigraphy Department.
Thank you, Mr. Lal. It's a great pleasure to meet you all, young epigraphists, experienced epigraphists. Now, there were much earlier no written records. There was no need for written records because they were Satyavakyas. If you go in the tribal state of living, early state of living, you will see he will never tell you lie. The man in the forest, he will never tell you any lie. He will rather die than to tell a lie. He will give his life because whatever they said, they say only the truth. Satya Vakya. Not you tell lie and then go up to the Supreme Court and then you say, no, what I have said is right. The Supreme Court said, do you know, have you gone through the evidence? Do you know that you haven't told the truth? No, sir, I have told a lie. You can't have these type of people as rulers. So, Satyavakyas. And this is a very important point in ancient times. And Lekhya Pramana comes into operation only when thus tradition is disturbed. That ancient tradition of Satya is disturbed, you need a written document. So, we have two important lawgivers. This is a nice word. If I say it is a Dharmasastrakara, for Western we may not like it. But they are the lawgivers. So, the first sage who compiled the law, the constitution, is Manu. He is the first giver of law, or this is the first constitution of India was written by Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. He was the first to write. He didn't write, sorry, he compiled. He compiled it from the eternal truths from Vedas. Veda, Vedanta, these two are the earliest. Vedas are hymns, poems, delightful poems. And then Vedanta are the Upanishads. If you just understand these two, You see, these are all eternal truths. And we have the earliest written record in India, readable. Not there were written records earlier also, but we are not able to read it. These are the Harappan writings. There are some pictures, pictographic script. We don't know. Everybody wants to say, this is my language. Why not? Let us say everybody can have it. It is your language, this language, this language. But there is no evidence to say what it is. Can I verify this symbol has this phonetic system, phonetic idea? We don't know. So, that we don't take it up now in this course. Here, from the written records onwards, we take up our study here. So, that is called Lekhya Pramana, written evidence. And all these inscriptions which you study, we call it inscriptions. Inscribed. Manu does not refer to written records. There is no reference in his work for written records. But there is another rishi named Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya is a Smritikara. That is lawgiver. He follows Manu, but then he says, for evidence, for purpose of evidence, we need Lekhya Pramana. He is the first person to say that all our transactions should be based on Lekhya Pramana. It means that all these written records are legal documents. Please note this. All these records are legal documents to be produced in the court of law when there is dispute. So it is not myth, it is not glorification of somebody, it is not just a record of your conquest here and there and all. These are all written documents. So when we say inscriptions, written on many material like stone or metal, copper, silver, or even gold leaves, and leather, paper, all these things are written documents. So when we say inscription, they are not connected with any ritual. They are connected as documents for transaction between man and in the society. Now what is the purpose? Yes, as I told you, this is the written document. In ancient time, they accepted three evidences. One is written document. The other one is what you call Sakshi, someone who has seen it. Second. Third one is your usage, in possession. Supposing you are in possession of it for 100 years or your ancestors have been having it, that is called possession. So, bhoga, it is called bhoga. So you have written documents, you have eyewitness, and then you have possession, right of possession. These are the three important things. And this Yajnavalkya, an extraordinary lawgiver. You must read it. Nobody reads in India. You see our constitution and see what they have written. How about 2000 years ago they had the vision to write all this? That's what's important. He says the first preference in the court of law is written document, lekha pramana. So the inscriptions are the foremost important evidence in times of dispute. Oh, please. In times of dispute, you can say. Similarly, when I am writing history, when you are writing history, if you go to our temples or any village, you ask them what is the name of this village, some name, some pattanam. And then, how do you know this name? When did it come into existence? Who established it? Unless you want to write, then what is the evidence? The only evidence which can give you indisputable evidence is inscription. So it is not only the chronicle of the kings, but it is about the events in the life. So I want to introduce two ideas which we should understand as an Indian. You can say as Hindu. The ancient realized that there are personal progress of a human being for which he observes so many vratas and so on, which we called the rituals or religious aspect. One is a religious aspect. The other one is worldly aspect. How you live in the society, you and the other man and the family. You earn your money, and that money you must be able free to use it as you like. The freedom to use what you have, your property, for your earning, you require something. And that is called, then that leads on to dispute. This fellow takes away, that fellow does this, that, and so on. How to decide about the dispute, decision, judiciary. That is called laukika. One is religious and the other one is worldly. And all worldly transactions, how to do it, are written down in the Dharmasastra. What is a Dharmasastra? Dharmasastra is that which gives you how you live in the society. Religious aspect, what you do for yourself, for your progress. So all Dharmasastras, Manu's Dharmasastra is how you live in the society. And for that, for the life of the people, to write the life of the people, to understand the life of the people, we need the inscriptions. And friends, there is no country in the world, as I have said yesterday, no country in the world which has got so many thousands of written records, inscriptions. And these are available. These are written in languages which I will be telling you shortly. And these have to be studied and written with the help of these inscriptions, your history. But we haven't done it. We have to do it. Some attempts have already been made by many scholars earlier. We pay tribute to them. But when the colonialists came and took our country, they said, these people have no tradition of writing, no documentation. And so the entire documents which were available prior to the arrival of these colonialists, 1750, all these documents have no value for them. And then suddenly they realized unless they know it, they cannot administer the country. They started reading local studies, local texts, and they found Manu is the best text which they can read. So Manu Dharma Shastra was read extensively by the early European scholars, and they translated them. And we are going to see how this is relevant for us. It's not you need to be an expert in Dharma Shastras, we don't want that, but what is written in the inscription, what you are going to understand as inscription, remember they are all based on the ancient law, Dharma Shastra of our country. Some early great men, even among the Western age, they have spent their whole life in reading these inscriptions, interpreting them. And so it is necessary that we remember them. And I have what you call a Buhler. Can you read it out for me?
James Prince,
James Prinsep.
George Buller, E. Seneret,
Yes.
F. Keelhorn, E. Hulch, L. Rice, W. Eliot, J. F. Fleet, and L. Bennett.
Yeah, there are many more, but these are most important. Their articles are there in Epigraphia Indica and South Indian Inscriptions volume and Mysore inscription. There are so many volumes that have come, and these great men have contributed to the enrichment of our history by reading inscriptions. So we pay tributes to them. Next. Look at the names of our own people, our own scholars who have contributed.
Bhagwan Lal Indraji, R. L. Mitra, R. G. Bhandarkar, R. B. Banerjee, D. R. Bhandarkar, H. T. Shastri, V. Venkaiah, H. Krishna Shastri, N. G. Majumdar, R. C. Majumdar, N. P. Chakravarti, K. A. Neelkantha Shastri, D. C. Sarkar, and Dr. R. Nagaswamy.
These are all legendary people who have contributed so much.